Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Grimes and I'm the founder of the Community Enrichment Project. Today I'm here with you to talk about changing your community. To begin, let's talk about what a community is. A community is a place where people live together. In communities, people are connected by where they live, go to work, attend school, shop, and access available resources. Although everyone is different, people in communities sometimes share the same culture, values, and beliefs. Together, all of these things unite those that live in a community. Today, we're going to be thinking about what community means to each of us. We're going to use a specific community as an example and take a virtual walk. Along the way, we'll take note of what it means to live in a community, what makes this particular community special, what we appreciate about it, and what changes we may want to make it even better. So for our virtual walk today, we're going to go through the Fort DuPont Ice Arena, or FDIA, community. This is an urban community located in Washington, D.C. Urban communities like this one have a lot of people or community members, and they have a lot of development. So for our virtual walk, we're going to look at a number of maps, community maps. So the very first map is a Google map, which will have a street view. Another map we'll explore will be a Google map, but an aerial view map. And the last map that we'll look at is a Google Earth Street View map. Each map will give us a different perspective of the exact same community. So, are you ready? Let's go. For our first map, we're going to explore the FDI community from the street view. This is what you think of when you hear someone say they are going to use a GPS or a global positioning system to get around town. So a GPS is a satellite-based navigation system. It's very helpful because it helps you get to places by giving you directions. Have you ever used a GPS before? Or have you seen someone else use a GPS? If so, where did it help you go? What's interesting is that this view reminds me of a basic map that I would draw of a community. The street view gives us a general idea of what is located in the FDIA neighborhood by displaying a basic, flat, one-dimensional picture of things, such as streets and different locations. So let's take a look at the map. So here's the Fort DuPont ice skating rink in the middle. And let's see what we notice nearby. We're going to take a couple minutes looking at this particular map. So as I was going on my own virtual walk of the neighborhood, here are some things that I noticed. I noticed elementary schools. I noticed a middle school, a Catholic school, different places of worship. I noticed a baseball park, different national parks and other green spaces, apartments, houses, different businesses, a tennis court, convenience stores, recreation centers, libraries, metro stations, community gardens, a cemetery, senior citizen centers, banks, fast food restaurants, a daycare, a lot of green space, walking and biking trails, a lake, and I also noticed the Anacostia River. So what other things do you see? What other things do you notice on this walk of this vast community? Covers a lot of miles. Has a lot of different interesting things. And here's that river that I mentioned earlier. So here is our second map. Within this second map, we'll take a look at the neighborhood from a different view. This is an aerial view map. So you may have heard another term for aerial view, which is bird's eye view. So imagine being a bird flying in the air, flying in the sky, and looking down at things below you. That's why this is sometimes called a bird's eye view map, because it's from a bird's eye view. But the proper name is an aerial view map, and aerial is just an adjective that describes something that is happening in the air. So we can quickly tell that this is a different view from our previous map view. What similarities do you notice? Nice. Both maps show the community and the things in it. Both show the community from a distance. So what about the differences you notice? What differences do you see? Interesting observations. So this map gives us a 2D or two-dimensional view of the FDIA neighborhood. Before, we were really just looking at a graphic depiction of the community. Now we can see more of the real thing. So let's check out this map. So here is the Fort DuPont ice skating rink in the middle again. And if you notice, you can see a lot more color and get a better sense of all of the beautiful green spaces near FDIA. Look at how many trees there are and different types of shrubbery. You can see the streets a little more clearly. They are the gray lines that you see throughout the map. There are also some brown spots that you might notice, brown squares. They might be empty lots. Some of the buildings look like they're white squares or rectangle shape, and the houses may look like they're different colors, black or a dark gray, a lighter gray. So it's a lot more color that you notice on this map. It's still from the aerial view, but again, it helps us get a better sense of what the community actually looks like what you would expect to see if you were looking at it in full color. You'll also notice that we're looking at some of the same buildings, structures, spaces that we noticed in the first street view map, but with so much more color. And look at all that green space there. So right now we're going through Fort DuPont Park area. And soon we should see some bodies of water to our left. So here's the Anacostia River again. And this is our third and final map. The last way that we'll take a virtual walk is really cool. This third map is a Google Earth view of the FDIA community. So Google Earth is a satellite-based computer program that creates a real like representation of Earth as we know it. So from a first glance, what similarities do you notice between this map and the other two we viewed? Right, so if you said they are all community maps, you're spot on. They all show the community in their own unique ways. So this one can be used like the others, and it can help you navigate your way around the neighborhood, but it just does it from a different perspective. It's still from an aerial view, so top down. It adds a lot more color, but what's really different about this particular map is that is in 3D. It's three-dimensional. This means you can see digital images of the community with a lot of depth added. When you look at this particular map, it's like you're seeing what you would see with your own eyes if you were just walking down the street. So cool, very realistic. You can get a closer look at the neighborhood this way. So when you look at this 3D map, think about the people that you'll see along the way. Think about the things that you see. Let's take a look. So here we have the Fort DuPont ice skating rink on the right, and on the left, we see two important buildings, the Baseball Academy and a middle school that are in the area. So the Washington Youth Baseball Academy and Sousa Middle School. So we're going to kind of zoom in a bit so we can take a virtual walk to both of those important buildings. Let's see what it looks like from the street view using the 3D map. So here is the street that FDIA ice skating rink is located on. And let's turn around a little bit so we can get a better view of the skating rink building. There it is right there. And so let's turn around and walk down the street a little so we can check out the Baseball Academy and the local middle school. So this is really cool because you feel like you are right there in person. You can be anywhere in the world as long as you have computer access. You can go on Google Earth and you can visit different places all around the world. So it's really cool. If you've ever visited FDIA, you'll notice a lot of things that you've already seen before. And this is just kind of a way to refresh your memory and have a fresh new outlook on a community in the Washington, D.C. area. So we're just strolling down the street, taking our time, looking at all the sites, the different trees and apartments to our left and our right. And coming up on your left side, you'll start to see the Baseball Academy. So there it is, one of the signs for the Baseball Academy. And here we're starting to see the field. It's a very large, very pretty space. And we are definitely glad to have it in the FDIA community. So here's a look at the field. And then we'll scroll back around a little bit so we can continue walking down the street. And I mean, just a few feet away, we have the Sousa Middle School, and it's going to be directly across the street from the Baseball Academy on the right side. Here it is slowly coming into view. Oh, here's another look at the Baseball Academy, close up. And this is so funny, when you're on Google Earth, you can see cars moving, you can see buses moving, you can even see people. So if you look at the front of the school building, you'll actually see some students and staff members outside. And here is the front of Sousa, one of the local schools. Pretty cool, right? So, I wanted to point out a couple things. If you really enjoy going to the ice skating rink and you are interested in learning more about other fun recreational institutions in the community, here are four that I wanted to point out. Do you recognize any of them from the walk that we just took with any of the maps? So going clockwise from the top left, there is the Washington Youth Baseball Academy again. Next, we have the Fort DuPont Summer Theater. On the bottom right, we have the Ridge Road Recreation Center pool. And the very last place, which is one of my favorites, bottom left, is the Boys and Girls Club. So there are a ton of fun and interesting places to go and see in the FDIA community, and we should make sure to take advantage of all of this cool stuff. So what about your community? Let's think about the community that you live in for a moment and connect it with the FDIA community as well. So think about who and what you see in your own community. Are there any similarities with the FDIA neighborhood? Are there any differences? If you live in an urban area like where FDIA is located, you may see some of the same people, places, and things. Do you notice families and children, different businesses and business owners, different community helpers like teachers and people who help deliver mail, restaurant servers even? Do you notice that you also have playgrounds? Do you have rental bikes? What about bodies of water like rivers or lakes? Or do you live in a rural community or a suburban community? Nice. So with every community, there are going to be some similarities, some differences, but no matter what, every community has one important thing: community members, people just like you and me. And so as we take and reflect on what we just saw in the FDIA community, and when you took a second to think about your own community, think about who and what you saw. Think about the different community needs and wants. From what you observed on our virtual walk, what did you like? What did you enjoy seeing? What did you appreciate? And also, let's think about, what would you change or what would you add? What about in your own community? Are there some things that you would want to fix up or make different? Are there things that you would like to see added to your community? When I think about my own community and conversations I've had with different community members, some things that I've heard people mention they would like to see in their neighborhoods, there's been a vast range, but Sometimes I hear the mention of hospitals or urgent care centers, more grocery stores, a coffee shop, art center, or even sit down restaurants. Or maybe you have even bigger and grander ideas. What about a movie theater or an animal rescue business? What about more stop signs or speed bumps? How about, did you see any litter on the walk that we took or walks that you take in your community? Do you think there should be more trash cans? Um, and what about more fun activities or more recreational buildings and centers in your own neighborhood so that people can enjoy where they live and have fun? If you notice changes that you would like to make, or if you have a great idea for how to make your community a better place to live, take a moment and think about writing a letter to local officials. In Washington, D.C., that can mean writing a letter to your ANC commissioner or your ward's council member or even the mayor. Whoever you decide to write to, make sure you write from your heart.